Good morning, Mega Podlings. It's Crazy Joe. Is there any way to... There we go. Good morning, Mega Podlings. It's Crazy Joe. How are you? It is Wednesday. Welcome to Crazy After Dark. I'm all alone today. A week ago, we had a guest down here. We had Mr. Dave Perillo. He is not here today. It's just Joe. It's all you get. Today, at least. And look at this. Sorry to do that, but messages pop up on the screen while I'm trying to read the screen. We have Trash Boat here. We have Boredom Strikes here. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I wish there was some way I could prevent those pop-up messages on the phone when I'm trying to do this. But they pop in. They pop in. Brent is here. Geriatric Geek is here. VM is here. VM asks, what is my favorite Christmas movie? That is easy. I don't even have to think about it. My favorite Christmas movie is Gremlins. I love Gremlins. I watch Gremlins just about every year. I don't think, there's a lot of Christmas movies you'll like, and you're like, oh, I'd like to watch this, I'd like to watch this, I'd like to watch this, but there's only so many hours in the day. I think Gremlins is the one I make it a point to revisit every year. Other favorites are It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, the Muppet Christmas Carol, Scrooge with Albert Finney. That's another one of my favorites. Of course, Christmas Vacation. Of course, Elf. Those are among my favorites, but Gremlins is by far my favorite. Brent says, I just bought Hulk Hogan movie on Blu-ray, Santa with Muscles. I haven't seen it yet. I've never seen that. I'm not sure because it's a Mill Creek release. Mill Creek very often sends me review copies. And if they send me a copy of that, I look forward to watching it and reviewing it. But they haven't sent it to me yet, and I've never seen the movie. Is it good? Have you seen Santa with Muscles before? Is it entertaining? I'd like to hear. Jingle All the Way. There's an underrated Christmas movie. I've always enjoyed Jingle All the Way. I like that. Speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, that new Terminator movie is not doing so well at the box office. Not doing well at all. I hear mixed reviews. I've heard people who really like it. I've heard people who think it's terrible. So it seems to be a very divisive movie. I actually did a video talking about my thoughts on the Terminator movies. It'll probably go live tomorrow. So look for that tomorrow. And my thoughts on the Terminator movies does not include Dark Fate because I haven't seen it yet. Boredom Strikes says Terminator should have ended many years ago. I agree. I am a firm believer that Terminator 3 should have been the final film in the franchise. I love Terminator 3. It's my favorite sequel of the Terminator sequels. It's not my favorite Terminator movie because my favorite Terminator movie is the original. But it's my favorite of the Terminator sequels, and I think it should have stopped there. I did think that going and showing the future war was a good idea until they made Salvation. And then after they made Salvation, I said, no, on second thought, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Maybe the future war should have been something that we imagined. Because sometimes what you imagine is a lot cooler than what they can show you. And I think maybe keeping it a little bit more mysterious and just seeing the little tiny glimpses that we got in the other movies, maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all we needed in the future war. And Boredom says, I like Jingle All the Way up until the third act. It does get a little crazy. I'll say that. It does get a little crazy. Brent says, a young Mila Kunis is in it from that 70s show. Probably butchered her name. Really? I once sat behind Mila Kunis in a movie. That's true. And we're talking like season 2 of that 70s show. So she was doing that 70s show, but she wasn't a big star yet. She wasn't a movie star yet, certainly. But it was the year 2000. I went out to California to visit a friend who was living out there. And we went to see the movie Best in Show. The mockumentary Best in Show. And we ended up sitting right behind Mila Kunis. It was and we didn't even know her name. We just were like, oh my God, it's Jackie from That 70s Show. And then later on in the night, I actually like bumped into her, like really bumped into her, because I was on my way to the bathroom and she was coming back from getting popcorn, and we kind of hit each other. And then I was kind of embarrassed because I'm like, oh geez, I just like collided into Jackie from That 70s Show. But she couldn't have been nicer. She like just laughed. She's, don't worry about it. It's good. She was very friendly. So, and we didn't like stop her and like be like, hey, can we get autographs or anything like that? We just were, but we did have one friend who pointed at her from behind her, pointed to the back of her head and said, oh my God, it's Jackie from That 70s Show. And Dave Perillo and I were a little embarrassed because she heard it. She heard it. And she was like, and then she turned and very politely smiled. And then later on, I bumped into her. That's why I was really mortified about bumping into her, because my friend had already kind of pointed right at the back of her head. And then I thought, oh, now she thinks I'm like some crazy fan who's just like bumping into her. Like, anyway, but she was very nice. Very nice. Punk Nerd says, My Chemical Romance and Rage Against the Machine reunion. Very cool. I, of course, know Rage Against the Machine, and I've heard of My Chemical Romance, but I'm not too familiar with the music of My Chemical Romance. I don't know if I can name any of their songs, actually. Marty McFly says, what's up, Joe? Not much up here. How are you, Marty? Joey Baseball says, hey, Cracky Joe. Hey, Joey Baseball. Jamel's asking if it's cold where I am. It's getting colder. It's getting colder, but it's not really that cold yet. You know, my car's in the shop. About a week ago, I hit a deer. No serious damage to my car. My car kind of made it out mostly unscathed. Just some body work. But it's in the shop. And I have a rental car until my car is ready. And the car I have, the rental car, is a Nissan Rogue. Thing's got butt warmers, man. It's got butt warmers. It's crazy. In the morning, I'm driving around, and at first I didn't even know where the control was. Like, I didn't know how the butt warmers got turned on. And I'm just driving to work, and I'm like, man, my butt is really warm. Like, I think this car has butt warmers. Sure enough, it does. I finally found the switch and can turn it off and on now. But the first 2 days, I just had a warm butt all the time because I couldn't even figure out how to turn the thing off. Jesse says, yo, Joe. Yo, Jesse. Welcome to the party, Jesse. Bohemian's in the house. Hello, Bohemian. Boredom Strike says, My Chemical Romance did the song for Watchmen that played on the end credits. I love The Watchmen. I haven't seen the show yet. That's not true. I saw the pilot. I watched the first episode. Thought it was kind of boring. Heard it gets better. But I haven't tuned in for the second episode yet. Trashboat says, did you know Dolph Lundgren has a master's in chemical engineering and is technically a doctor? I did know that, Trashboat. He's a very intelligent man, which is impressive. I didn't know it always. That's something I learned in the last couple of years, but I did know it. Marty says, whenever I hear someone say very nice, I always hear Borat. Joey Baseball says, how's the deer doing? I don't think the deer walked it off. A friend of mine went hunting last weekend, and he put a post up on Facebook that says, killed my first deer on Saturday. And I responded, that's amazing. I killed my first deer on Friday. The body shop thinks they're going to have my car fixed in no time at all. He didn't find it as funny as I did. I thought it was funny. Greg's Game Room is in the house. Hello, Greg's Game Room. Greg's Game Room, did you see the doorbuster deals that Target's having on Black Friday on arcade one-up machines? Pac-Man and the Marvel one-up machines are going to be $250 as deal busters. I got to admit, I'm tempted for the Marvel one, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I'm saving my money for the Star Wars. I'm saving room. I don't have that much room in here, but there's going to be room. We'll find room for that Star Wars machine. So I can't do a second one, but the Marvel one is tempting. Punk Nerd says it's the same temperature. It just stays the same temperature except where my school is. S Rose 40 is in this house. Hello, S Rose. Marty says they gotta add butt warmers to movie theater seats. Sometimes. Jesse says I got butt warmers and a steering wheel warmer too. It's great in the winter. I didn't even know they made steering wheel warmers. I wonder if the car has that too, and I just haven't tripped the control on it yet. Punkster's Nerd says Desolation Row. I guess that's the name of the song in Watchmen. Craig says, hey, Maury. Just a reminder, we've got Super Chat Hippo here. Super Chat Hippo is standing by. That's Dave Perillo's doing. Dave Perillo has named this Super Chat Hippo. If you missed last week, that happened last week. That's all Dave. David Rambert says season 2 of Discovery is coming this Tuesday. Oh, on Blu-ray? Oh man, I forgot. I want that. I want that, but maybe I should, hold off and tell the people who are bound to ask, aka my mom, my brother. I'm gonna get questions. What does Joe want for Christmas? And I should say, I want Discovery season 2 on Blu-ray. That's what I want. That's what Joe wants. Lisa says, hi ho, Muppet friend. Hello, Lisa. How are you? Oh, what a weekend at RICC. Hope all is well. Oh, were you there for the last convention for Carol Spinney? Did you get a selfie? I didn't see your selfie. If you got one, I missed it. I'll have to look it up. But I hope you got a selfie, Lisa. Trashboat says, did I like the movie Prisoners starring Hugh Jackman from 2013? Gotta be honest, Trashboat, I don't know if I've heard of that movie. If I have heard of it, I've forgotten about it. Joey says, how do I plan on celebrating Disney Plus next week? I would like to take the day off work and just sit there diving into the content. That's not going to happen, however, because I recently started a new job. I don't have PTO yet, so that's not going to happen. But in a world where I had PTO, that's what I would do. But I will definitely be watching The Mandalorian Tuesday night. I'm very excited for The Mandalorian. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Greg says, I did see those. Oh! Brent says, let's hear the hippopotamus. Super Chat Hippo thanks you, Brent. And I thank you, too. One more for you. Thank you, Super Chat Hippo. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate it. Greg says, I did see them. See those arcade one-ups still. If I see them going for 150 or less, it's hard to justify 250. That's true. I mean, the 250 for the Marvel one, I think is pretty good. Pac-Man, I love Pac-Man. I'm a Pac-Man fanatic, but I don't think I could pay that much for a Pac-Man one-up. I got Pac-Man on the Nintendo. I got Pac-Man on so many different consoles and so many different. I can't justify that price for Pac-Man. And this is coming from someone who loves Pac-Man. I want my sloth says we should have a brief moment of silence for our dearly departed dear friend. You will be missed. Oh dear. Brandon says some of the Target deals are going to go live on Friday for a sneak preview. Ooh, very interesting. Bohemian says starting tomorrow, vintage Happy Meals. Oh, I heard about this, the vintage Happy Meals, but they're a surprise, right? You don't know what you're getting, which is kind of a pain because you could get a lame one like the Beanie Baby. It's like, who would, I'd be so disappointed if I got the Beanie Baby. It's like, no, I want the transforming cheeseburger or one of the McNuggets. But with my luck, I'd get the Beanie Baby. But I don't know. I might have to gamble this weekend and go to McDonald's and see if I can get a couple. Because it's too cool not to. Marty says, is Super Chat Hippo a homeless hippo? He's not homeless. He's got a home right here. He's got a home right here on Megapodtastic. Eastsiders Concert says, have I seen Terminator Dark Fate yet? I have not. I bought a ticket Saturday. And then I decided I just wasn't that interested. And I went and saw Jojo Rabbit instead. I still might try to get out there to see Terminator Dark Fate. I'm curious. I've heard some stuff about it. I've also heard some really dumb criticisms. Now, this is coming from a guy who doesn't want to see the movie. Like, I really have so little interest in Dark Fate. So I'm not the guy who's going to come out and defend the movie because I'm not really interested in the movie. But still, I'm going to come out and defend the movie a little. Because what I heard was just so dumb. I heard people complaining about Dark Fate because there's many reasons to dislike a movie, but some of those reasons are just not valid. Some people were claiming that the movie wasn't good because it, quote unquote, got woke. Got woke, if you know what that means. That's something people online say to mean that there's a lot of female characters in it. So these people were complaining that they made the film with all these female protagonists. So that's quote unquote getting woke, which to me is laughable because the Terminator franchise is a franchise that was known for its strong female protagonist. Linda Hamilton, as Sarah Connor, is sort of the prototype of the strong female protagonist. Her and probably Ellen Ripley from Alien. But I know in Halloween H2O, when Laurie Strode has her final confrontation against Michael Myers, Jamie Lee Curtis called that her. I don't remember if this was on the commentary of the Blu-ray or some interviews, but I saw Jamie Lee Curtis call that her Linda Hamilton moment. That comes from Terminator. So Terminator is a franchise that was built upon strong female protagonists. And you're going to say in part 6 that it's gotten woke by having a female protagonist. I say to you, you didn't see part 1 and 2. Anyway, end of rant. End of rant. Anyway. Brandon says, no Mac Tonight toys. Those Happy Meal toys are missing. I love Mac Tonight. You know who played Mac Tonight? Star Trek Discovery star Doug Jones. Doug Jones from Shape of Water, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy. He was Mac Tonight in those commercials. Esro says, the Discovery Channel has told me that hippos are deadly. This hippo is not deadly. This hippo just wishes to thank people for super chats. That's its purpose. Marty says we need to make a funeral for the deer if we can find it. I think by the time I was coming back the other way, it was already scraped off the road. So, Punk Nerd says, am I going to see Midway? I'd like to, but Dr. Sleep also opens this weekend. And I don't know. It's all about timing, It's all about timing. Jesse says, what are some Christmas movies you like watching every year? Well, Gremlins, I mentioned. I like watching It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie. That's one of my favorites. I like Elf. Love Elf. Love Christmas Vacation. Though for a while I kind of stopped watching Elf and Christmas Vacation because I got a little tired of them. Just sort of like how I kind of stopped watching Scrooged with Bill Murray for a long time because I got tired of it. I watched it every year and I just got tired of it. And then so many years had passed that I did not watch it that I was ready to reintroduce it to my repertoire. And I've started watching it again the last couple of years, and I actually enjoy it more now that I took a little bit of a break on it. What are some of your favorite Christmas movies? Let's hear. Brandon says, seeing Jojo Rabbit Friday, I think you'll like it. It's a very good movie. Lisa says, oh yeah, the selfie is up at the BSP page. I will look for it. For those of you who don't know what the BSP page is, it's a secret. Shh. I went Sunday to Comic-Con, talked with Steve Whitmire, visited with Deb and Carol. Man, Steve Whitmire's a great guy, isn't he? Every time I see Steve Whitmire at a convention, I could just talk to him he's so personable. I have no idea what went on behind the scenes with Disney and him. I got no idea. I'm staying out of that fight. I don't take sides. All I know is Steve Whitmire did a brilliant job for all those years puppeteering for the Muppets. All I know is Matt Vogel does a great job. I love them both. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I admire them both, and I've enjoyed every moment I've ever spent in the company of Steve Whitmire. Most recently at DragonCon a few months ago. Bohemian says, make the funeral for the deer to my dinner plate. We can do it, man. We can do it. Let's get him to your plate. Trashboat says, LMAO. People complaining about guy movies having female characters is hilarious because you know what only has male characters? Gay porn. But I guess that's not the movie they want. Good point. Very good point. Boredom Strike says, I hate that people get angry and oppose equality and diversity. It's especially weird in a franchise that's known for it. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to complain about a female protagonist in the next Alien movie? I mean, like, it's kind of what that franchise was built on. But people are weird. Anyway. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't want to see the movie. Marty says, when the clock strikes... let me sing it. When the clock strikes 6:30, babe, time to head for Golden Lights. It's a good time for the great taste dinner at McDonald's. Big Mac tonight. Lisa says, went Sunday to the puppetry panel with Mike Quinn, Steve Whitmire, Bill Diamond, and Noel from Bear in the Big Blue House, and gave Carol about 10 standing ovations to bid him adieu. Tears were everywhere. Yeah. I told Carol the last time I saw him, I got down on my knees to get low because he's in a wheelchair and I'm very tall. So I got down on my knees to get a picture with him. And I just told him, I've met a lot of celebrities at conventions and various places. And I've gotten, pictures, autographs with a lot of different celebrities over the years. But Carol Spinney is the only one I've ever said these words to. I told him, I love you. And he just said, thank you. And Debbie said, that's the nicest thing we could possibly hear. And I meant it, because how do you not love him? How do you not love him? I mean, he's touched every one of our lives, hasn't he? Who didn't grow up with Big Bird? Who didn't grow up with Big Bird? Yeah, Carol Spinney, man. He's one of a kind. Going back to the Christmas question, Marty says, have I seen the animated Elf sequel? I saw part of it and hated what I saw, and I kind of bailed out early. S. Rose says, I like Jim Carrey's A Christmas Carol. Gotta be honest, I never saw the Jim Carrey version. I've seen many versions of Christmas Carol, but I never saw that one. Wet Movie 1 is in the house. Welcome to the party, Wet Movie 1. Good to see you. No, I haven't seen Dark Fate yet. Wet Movie 1, I had no idea you watched. Thank you. Good to see you, sir. Very good to see you. Jesse Swarbuck says Home Alone 1, Christmas Vacation, Trapped in Paradise, A Christmas Story, Scrooge, Harold and Kumar, Christmas, Batman Returns, Die Hard. All great choices. All great choices. I would personally argue that Batman Returns, I don't see that as a Christmas movie. I see that as Christmas adjacent. Whereas Die Hard, I very much see as a Christmas movie. I always think, how crucial is Christmas to the plot? That's sort of my touchstone. But I also believe, don't piss on someone's picnic. If someone really likes something, watching something at a certain time of year, who are you to take it away from them? So I wouldn't dream of doing that. So what movie won? What do you think of Dark Fate? Because I know people are divided on it. We were just talking about how some people said they didn't like the movie because it had a strong female protagonist. And I said, did you watch Terminator 1 and 2? Because that's kind of what Terminator 1 and 2 were built upon. Punk Nerd, it's Lamo. I'm not sure what we're referencing there, Punk Nerd. I apologize. Bohemian Movies and More. Who is Mac Tonight? Oh, it was an ad campaign for McDonald's back in the 80s. He was a crescent moon head. He was advertising dinner at McDonald's because McDonald's was, at that time, they did a booming business for lunch, but they weren't getting the dinner crowd. So they decided to have this push on dinner at McDonald's. And their mascot was a crescent moon because it's nighttime. It's nighttime. The moon is up. It's dinner. And he sang the old Bobby Darin song, Mac the Knife. But the lyrics were changed to Big Mac Tonight. It was a very popular commercial in the late 80s. But as popular as it was, McDonald's did not see an uptick in dinner sales. I mean, it was a successful ad campaign in that people liked the ad, people remembered the ad, he became a popular character, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do, which is get people to have dinner at McDonald's. S-Rose says Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's a good one. Joey Baseball says, do you have a special connection with Carol Spinney we don't know about? No different than anyone else. I've only met him on 2 or 3 occasions. 3 occasions. I met him on 3 occasions. But I grew up watching Sesame Street daily, you know. I loved Sesame Street growing up. So, yeah, no different than anyone else, I don't think. VM says Nightmare Before Christmas. Great Christmas movie. Agreed. And what my sauce says, have I ever seen Duplex with Ben Stiller and Drew Barrymore? I have not. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. And what my sauce says, a Christmas movie is any movie you watch on Christmas. I agree. For some people, the Star Wars movies are Christmas movies. I know people who watch Star Wars every Christmas. I know someone who watches Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan every Christmas. Your tradition is what you make your tradition. Brandon says, I was surprised that my local Best Buy actually expanded their movie selection. It now has a Mill Creek section. God bless Mill Creek. Mill Creek, Criterion, Shout Factory, Scream Factory. These are the companies that are killing it with the physical media. White Movie says, I did a review video on it, but I didn't like it much. They did Eddie wrong. I've heard about that. But I got to be honest, I'm not a fan of Edward Furlong, so that actually was kind of a win for the movie for me. I'll try to see it this weekend. 3B Video. Oh yeah, what's up, buddy? What's up with you, 3B Video? Good to see you here. Greg's Game Room says strong female protagonist is not the complaint. Replacing John Connor is the complaint. No, I literally heard people complaining about the female protagonists. Like I read that. They wrote, how dare they replace John Connor with female protagonists. To which my argument was, John Connor wasn't the protagonist until like part 3. A little bit in part 2. A little bit in part 2, but I'd even argue there it was still Sarah Connor. But yeah, it's like part 1, he wasn't even there. He was a MacGuffin in part 1. He didn't even exist yet. Marty says, that's like saying, did Wendy's bring back spicy nuggets? Lisa says, I held Carol's hand and thanked him for always being there to pick me back up when I'm a bit too grouch-like, and I'll sing with Big Bird forever, and that I loved him. He was smiling ear to ear. God bless him, man. Trashboat says, thoughts on Matthew McConaughey being cast as Two-Face in The Batman. Was he? This is the first I'm hearing of it. I did not hear that. Did that just happen? I'll have to look into that. I guess that's a good casting. I gotta say, Batman, they're killing it with the cast. Heck of a cast in this movie, man. They've cast like every role really well. And I think it's kind of cool that Zoe Kravitz is going to be Catwoman and her stepdad is Aquaman. So Aquaman and Catwoman are stepdad and stepdaughter. That's pretty cool. Jesse says, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard 2, Trading Places. I usually watch around Christmas as well. You know, I always associate Trading Places more with New Year's Eve. Probably, Merry New Year! Joey Baseball says, you said on the last CS live stream that your favorite cookie was peanut butter. I'm surprised it wasn't chocolate chip or Oreo. I like both of those. But I like peanut butter better. Oreo wasn't named Oreo because of my great love of Oreo cookies. It just was his coloration. He's gotten more gray as he's gotten older. He's got more gray than black. But when we first got him, we thought he looked like a little Oreo cookie. Marty says, Blank Me Sandwich is a Christmas movie. It has a lot of candy canes in it. Blank Me Sandwich. Joey Baseball says, I tried to tell you that AMC A-List was a scam. I don't believe they're a scam. I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of them. I think my local AMC theater is crapping out, but the AMC at Neshaminy is doing quite well. They're just a little farther. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to stick with AMC or make the jump to Regal. I'm weighing the pros and cons. There are pros and cons in both buckets. So I'm taking a wait and see. But I'm probably going to stick with AMC A-List because it's a very good deal. And Regal's a good deal too. But AMC also gives you the refillable popcorn bucket, so you save money on popcorn. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I'm very happy with AMC A-List. It's my local AMC theater that I'm not so happy with. I got annoyed with them because Knives Out. I set a reminder, let me know when advance tickets for Knives Out are available. And they sent me an email saying, you can get your tickets to Knives Out now. I went and looked, and my local AMC hadn't added any showtimes for Knives Out. And I'm like, what? You're sending an email. You can get your tickets now. And I can't get my tickets now. And it's not like it's some obscure movie. It's one of the biggest movies of the holiday season. Star-studded cast, director of the highest grossing film of 2017. It's got Oscar buzz behind it. It's a major release. And not a single showtime. 2 weeks later, they finally added showtimes. I was pretty annoyed. But that's the one theater. That's the management at my local theater are a bunch of jackwagons. Brandon Sullivan says, I ordered some Arrow titles from Target, taking advantage of their buy two, get one free sale. I didn't know about the buy two, get one free sale. Is it still going on? Huh. Aubrey is in the house. Welcome, Aubrey. Always good to see you. Glad you're here. Lisa says, on a lighter note, I looked Eddie Furlong in Terminator 2. I think it's supposed to be I loved because I was a teenage girl and he was actually cute then. Now I'm not so sure. Marie says, enjoyed your live stream with Dave. Got some laughs. Yeah, that was great having Dave on the live stream. We don't exactly live close by, and he's allergic to the cat. I suggested we do it at his place because we needed to do Lunchbox Bunch, and I said, why don't we get together at your place, do Lunchbox Bunch, do the live stream from your house? But he said we wouldn't have been able to do it. His kids were apparently not leaving him alone that night. He said he got a sense that the kids weren't going to let him do it, so he came here and braved the cat, who would not leave him alone, by the way. The cat kept getting up in his face. Marty says, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Chips Ahoy are great. I like them, but I wish they weren't chewy Chips Ahoy. I don't like chewy Chips Ahoy. I like my crispy Chips Ahoy. S. says, Gremlins is a great Christmas movie, my favorite. Daniel says, hey, Joe, what is your favorite movie score and or soundtrack? Oh, I'm a real sucker for the score for E.T. I love that score. I think E.T.'s got some of the most beautiful music ever written, John Williams. Jerry Goldsmith's score for Explorers. I love that. Dun, 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 dun. Na, 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 na. Man, I love that score. Those are probably among my two favorites. Jesse says, do you like Adventures in Babysitting? Of course I like Adventures in Babysitting. It's a great movie. And Anthony Rapp from Star Trek Discovery is in the movie. Joey says, your number one fan, Aubrey, is here late, though. Joey, I thought you were my number one fan. What's going on here? Aubrey says, Knives Out looks so good. It does. I can't wait to see it. I'm very anxious for that one. And what my slaw says, I've never heard of Knives Out. It's a new murder mystery by Ryan Johnson, star-studded cast. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis. It's got Daniel Craig, Toni Collette, Chris Evans. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Really good. Look up the trailer. I want my slaw. You will be pleased. Harry the Hammer says, sup. Sup with you, Harry. Good to see you. All right. I fell way behind on the chat, so I'm skipping ahead here. I just realized how far behind I was. How exciting was that? Wet Movie 1 popped in. I wasn't expecting that. Wet Movie 1. It's nice to see him. Nice to see him. Marie says, that email to get your tickets now for Knives Out must have been a scam. They were available at other AMCs, just not the one closest to me. Eastsiders Concert says, yes, still going. Joe just ordered 6 movies tonight. I think I missed something. I apologize. Brandon says, yes, the sales online and in the store on movies, music, and books. I'm going to look into it. Thank you for the tip, Brandon. Did you guys see that Barnes & Noble's having a huge Criterion sale where everything's 50% off? And it's the cheapest way to get the Godzilla set. And I'd like to thank Serial at Midnight for tipping me off to that. But it's a good deal. Very good deal. Punk Nerd says Angus is the best soundtrack. Angus had a great Weezer song. What was it? It was Jamie. Wasn't it Jamie? Jamie. Da-da-da. I haven't heard that song in years. I think that was from the Angus soundtrack. Was it Jamie? Because I remember they had 2 songs with women's names that were on soundtracks, and Suzanne was the one on the Mallrats soundtrack. Joey asks, how's it been eating with the new molar? The new molar's doing great. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Aubrey says, I want my else. You should check. I think that was supposed to be slaw. I bet that was autocorrect. It was autocorrect, wasn't it, Aubrey? You were saying I want my slaw. Let's see. Where are we? Bohemian says, I like the new Adventures in Babysitting. Oh my God, they did remake that, didn't they? I forgot about that. Was it on Disney Channel or something? I never saw the remake. Lisa says Knives Out is the one with Frank Oz too, right? I will have to say that's right. Frank Oz is in the movie. A friend of mine who may be watching right now, I know he watches, but my friend Ryan emailed me about a week ago. A friend of his sent a letter to Frank Oz requesting an autographed picture of the cop that Frank Oz played in Trading Places. Now, as many of you may know, as Lisa surely knows, Frank Oz is not big on signing autographs, doesn't really like signing autographs. Though Lisa and I both have his autograph. Why? Shh, it's a secret. Anyway, Frank Oz sent the guy a picture of him as the cop and signed it. And he wrote a handwritten note that said, "Congratulations, you are the first person to ever ask me to send him an autograph of me as a bald cop." So I thought that was pretty cool. Joey asked if I've heard of the Barney reboot. I did hear about it. The guy from Get Out is behind it. The actor, whose name escapes me, but the actor from Get Out is behind the Barney reboot. Very weird. I wonder if they're going to do something like the Banana Splits. I did hear they were going to subvert expectations, so maybe it's going to be like the Banana Splits thing. Jesse says, are my watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on Thanksgiving? Probably not, because I won't be home on Thanksgiving. I'll be in Virginia, and I'm sure the kids will be picking what's on the TV. Joey says, I thought you had bad blood with Godzilla. You know, I do have a love-hate relationship with Godzilla. Godzilla did send me a cease and desist, but you know, I've come to feel like I like the big lizard. I don't like his lawyers. I think that's my feelings on Godzilla. I'm okay with him, but I hate his lawyers. Jesse says Dumb and Dumber had a great soundtrack. Here we go, way too fast. Don't slow down, you're gonna crash. Everyone's got me singing tonight. I got a song in my heart. Joey says, I asked CS on the live stream on Monday if there was a Halloween Muppet movie. He said he didn't think so. There is not. There is not. There were some episodes of The Muppet Show that I guess were kind of Halloween themed, like when Vincent Price hosted. They weren't explicitly Halloween episodes, but you could watch them at Halloween, and it would be appropriate. But no, they never did a Halloween movie. Marty asks, what's your favorite cereal? Oh, good question. I like Lucky Charms. I like Frankenberry. Who doesn't like Frankenberry? Come on. Jesse says Frank Oz was the funny cop in Trading Places. He's going through Dan Aykroyd's belongings. Indeed. Brandon says, you gave your love to me softly is the Weezer song on the Angus soundtrack. Okay, then wait. What album was Jamie on? That was like on a compilation album, wasn't it? Man, Weezer was all over the place in the 90s. Aubrey says, Disney Plus opening this week? Yes, Tuesday, the 12th. Joey says, have I seen Christmas Story 2? I've seen part of Christmas Story 2. I've never seen the whole movie. I'm not the biggest fan of the Christmas Story, though. People love Christmas Story. I got nothing against it. It's never been one of my favorites, though. Jesse says Frank Oz was also funny in Spies Like Us. Yeah, John Landis always gives Frank Oz roles in his movies. He was in American Werewolf, too. Funny. Marty says, funny, when I heard Barney reboot, my first thought was Get Out. Lisa says, oh my God, that's awesome about the Frank Oz signature. My guy can no longer not hear Fozzie Bear's voice when Frank is on the screen since he started dating me. My wife, Lisa, has learned to differentiate the puppeteers' voices just from being married to me. We were watching a clip of Kermit the Frog, and my wife screamed from the other room, is that Whitmire doing Kermit? She just knew the puppeteer because we're on our third Kermit. But I just thought that was funny that she can identify them all just from living with me. Trashboat says Cap has a real mouth on him in Knives Out. I wonder if he kisses Peggy with that mouth. Backquin Forever says, did you see Alita Battle Angel? I did. It's pretty good. And the actress who plays Alita Battle Angel, Rosa Salazar, she was just in the latest episode of Short Treks, Star Trek Short Treks on CBS All Access. It's called The Trouble with Edward. It is fantastic. If you're a Star Trek fan, you gotta seek out The Trouble with Edward if you haven't seen it yet. It is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. It's sort of a prequel to The Trouble with Tribbles, and it stars Rosa Salazar from Alita Battle Angel. It's just great. Joey says, I think they should remake Willy Wonka every 10 years or so with a new Willy Wonka. I don't like that there's only two and the second one isn't great. I still say they got to remake it with Christopher Walken. It's an everlasting gobstopper, Charlie. You suck it and suck it. It don't get any smaller. Who wouldn't want to see that? Henry says Paul Williams on The Muppets was fun. Joey says, I'm definitely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Who isn't? Really, who isn't? Lisa says Alice Cooper Muppet Show is Halloween-y. CGI says is the new Chicky in Child's Play CGI. Do you mean Chucky? I think he is mostly practical effects, though I'm sure they use some CGI. Henrietta says Angus was a Warner archive, right? I'm not sure. I don't know. Does anyone know? Was Angus a Warner archive title? Marie says, didn't tell Joey Baseball Disney Plus is opening. Aubrey says Christopher Walken as Willy Wonka would be amazing. Who wouldn't want to see that? Oh boy. Let me get some water here. Oh. It is Wednesday night. It is Wednesday night. I'm really excited for Disney Plus. I can't wait to see what all's on there. Like, I mean, they announced a lot of stuff, but I'm hoping there's going to be some surprises on there we're not expecting. That would be pretty cool. Brandon says, yes, Angus is a Warner's archive title. And so does Marty. Marty agrees. Joey says, did Rick ever say how his first 4DX experience with Zombieland 2 was? He told me he could get 4DX for free if he just gets CS to shake his chair. Rick did tell me about his 4DX experience, but I don't know what Rick's plans are, if he planned to do a video on that. So I don't want to spill the beans. That's Rick's story to tell. I just heard it tonight, in fact. I called Rick tonight, and he was telling me about his 4DX experience. So, yeah, I'm not going to talk about Rick's 4DX experience because I think that's Rick's story to tell, and he's probably saving it. I know he saves up and does a bunch of review videos. That's probably where he's planning to talk about it. I also know what Rick thought about Dark Fate, but I'm not going to tell you. Marty says Rick is always saying on CS live streams he wants a Blu-ray of Angus. Liz says, I was just asked why I'm cracking up. I said, imagine Christopher Walken as Willy Wonka. Wouldn't it be great, man? It's edible wallpaper, Charlie. You lick it. The bananas taste like bananas. The strawberries, they taste like strawberries. The schnozberries, Charlie, they taste like schnozberries. I don't do a great Christopher Walken, but my God, who wouldn't want to watch that movie? I would watch that movie right now. Backquid Forever says I might get Disney Plus. I talked to my mom about it to test it out for a month. I'll have to watch all the Marvel movies they have on there. It is certainly cheap, $6.99 a month, and if you commit to, I signed up for 3 years, and basically you end up getting a year free. Marty McFly says, tell us Rick's experience with facial expressions. Okay, here we go. Rick's experience with 4DX. There we go. That was Rick in a 40X theater. Jesse says you would be surprised how many directors made cameos in Spies Like Us. Yeah, no, that's a thing with John Landis. He gets all his director friends to make appearances. Frank Oz, Terry Gilliam, Martin Brest, Joel Cohen, Michael Alter, Sam Raimi, Larry Cohen. Yep. That is John Landis's MO. Get his director friends in the movie. Brandon says if you sign up for Disney Plus, they're giving you a free week at least with the 1-year deal. Marty says Christopher Walken needs to play Dr. Doom in the MCU. That would be amazing. Guys, we are coming up on an hour, so I feel guilty pimping it out, but again, I remind you, this is Dave Perillo's work. You're running out of time to hear the Super Chat Hippo. I don't even know where Dave came up with that one. VM119 says CGI Christopher Walken Oompa Loompas. The whole movie could just be a bunch of Christopher Walkens. I would be okay with that movie, actually. Joey Baseball says, I would have loved to have seen Bill Cosby as Willy Wonka back in the 80s. Charlie, the chocolate is the pudding. I don't know. I do terrible impressions. You guys know it. I know you like to pretend they're good, but it's not true. They're not good. They're not good. Trashboat says, Gary Busey is Willy Wonka, please, and thank you very much. That would be weird. Eastsiders Concert says, are you excited for Birds of Prey? I'm very excited for Birds of Prey. I can't wait for Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey just shot right up on my list of highly anticipated movies after I saw Bumblebee. Because Christina Dodson, who wrote Bumblebee, and if you haven't seen Bumblebee, my God, Bumblebee just a phenomenal movie. Phenomenal. It's the best Transformers movie ever made. Even better than the 85 animated film. And I love the 85 animated film. But the 85 animated film, you kind of already have to be a fan. Bumblebee is the kind of movie that brings new people in. If you're already a fan, you're going to love it. But it brings new people in. Like my daughter, Jackie, loved it. She's never been a big Transformers fan. I don't think my wife ever cared about the Transformers. She didn't grow up watching the Transformers. But she liked that movie. So it's a movie that really transcends. If you're a Transformers fan, you're going to like it. But if you're not a Transformers fan, you're probably still going to like it because the movies get so much heart. So yeah, when I saw that the same screenwriter was writing Birds of Prey, Birds of Prey shot up in my anticipation. I can't wait to see it. Marty says we need a Super Chat Hippo song. Super Chat Hippo. He's the hippo who makes noises for super chats. I just made that up. Jesse says Bill Cosby would have been given the kids Spanish Fly instead of Godstoppers. Probably true. Probably true. Joey says, I love your Bill Cosby impression, even though you think it's bad. It just cracks me up every time. Charlie, I like you to drink this fizzy lifting drink. Oh, I put a little something in the fizzy lifting drink. It's gonna lift you up real high. And then I'm gonna rape you. That's my Cosby as Wonka. Terrible. 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 Aubrey says, gotta go, Joe. It's been fun. Have a good night, everybody. Welcome. Thank you. Look at this. I'm getting tired. My words aren't even making sense anymore. Good night, Aubrey. Thank you for stopping by. Lisa says, I'm curious why keep wearing those pajamas. I mean, PJs are great, but where did that come from since I'm new here? All right, I'll tell you the story where it came from. My friend is an artist, Mr. Scott Derby. Google him, Scott Derby. In fact, Lisa, you might be familiar with some of Scott's work. because our good friend Mr. Ryan Sullivan often wears a T-shirt designed by Scott Derby. If you've ever seen Ryan's T-shirt of Ernie and Bert as Batman and Robin, that's Scott Derby. Well, anyway, Scott Derby had a T-shirt that was going to be for sale for 24 hours only on tfury.com. I don't know if any of you are familiar with tfury.com, but they used to sell one shirt a day, and that was it, just one shirt a day. If you missed it in that 24-hour period, you couldn't get it again. Now they sell like 2,700 shirts every day. But back several years ago, it was one shirt a day. And they would get different artists to do the shirts. And Scott Derby had a shirt that was coming up. It was going to be the shirt of the day. So we had him on the Megapodtastic podcast to promote his shirt that was going to be available the next week on T-Fury. So we're getting done the interview. And Scott says, all right, everyone. Well, thanks for having me on. And, keep the faith. So we stop recording, or actually we didn't stop recording. I'm still recording. Scott doesn't know I'm still recording, and Scott goes, "Did I just say keep the faith? Keep the faith? Why did I say keep the faith? I never say keep the faith. What made me say keep the faith? I don't say that. That's not something I say." And he says, "Did you ever say something weird like one time? It's just one time you said this weird thing, but you're in the company of someone who doesn't know you, and then they think that thing is like your catchphrase. They think it's something you say all the time. Now all your listeners are going to think I just go around saying keep the faith to people." He's like, "But I don't. It's like this weird thing that just popped out of my head. It's like I said, keep wearing those pajamas." Well, I was still recording this rant, and I threw it at the end of the podcast as an Easter egg or like a tag at the end. So you got our end credits, our end credit music. And then Scott going on this rant comes on. Why did I say I never say keep the faith. I keep wearing those pajamas. And it was so funny that we just started saying keep wearing those pajamas at the end of every podcast. that became like every show. Keep wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those. And it was all because of this weird outtake of our good friend Scott Derby. So that is the very, very long story of why we had every show with keep wearing those pajamas. I hope the story didn't bore you into a coma. Daniel says, did I ever see the short-lived 80s TV show Sledgehammer? I own every episode. I got those DVDs over there in my DVD room. Joey says, Roald Dahl hated the original Willy Wonka, refused to let them make the sequel to The Great Glass Elevator. Yeah, he was very critical of most movie versions of his books. He also hated Jim Henson's The Witches. Jim Henson adapted his book The Witches, and Roald Dahl did not like it. He didn't care for it one bit. Backwit says, I'll give Birds of Prey a chance. I gave up on the DCEU after Suicide Squad, but at least Birds of Prey does look somewhat entertaining. Backwit, you got to go back and watch the DCEU movies you missed, because you've missed some of the best ones. Shazam is phenomenal. Aquaman's really good. The Walter Hamada era. Walter Hamada is basically the Kevin Feige of the DC universe, and he was not there when they made Suicide Squad. He was not there when they made Batman v Superman. He came in after things basically went to crap, as they say, and he was the guy who kind of fixed it. And boy, howdy did he fix it, because they have been just knocking it out of the park. It was Walter Hamada who managed to get James Gunn, James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy, on board at DC, making Suicide Squad 2. So yeah, no, you got to check it out. They've been just phenomenal since Walter Hamada took over. I don't think Walter Hamada has made a single misstep since he's taken over. He's really done a terrific job turning things around over there. Jesse says, do I like Christopher Walken on Saturday Night Live in the 90s doing the cowbell skits? Those were hilarious. I love Christopher Walken on Saturday Night Live. He was so great on Saturday Night Live. He did a bit where he interviewed a centaur for a job. It was a centaur job interview, and Christopher Walken was the interviewer. It's one of my favorite skits of all time. You look up Christopher Walken Centaur, or the Centaur skit. If you've never seen it, it is hysterical. And to this day, we cannot pass a horse. It drives my wife crazy. We cannot go past a horse without me saying, it was a horse. It was a horse. You made your choice. But it comes from that skit. Nathan Brittle says, has Joe been drinking? I just came in. I have not. Not tonight. Well, I've been drinking water, but that's all I've been drinking. Marty McFly says, have I seen the Birds of Prey TV show? I did watch it back in the day when it was on. And it's coming back in a sense because it's going to be part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover coming next month, which I'm excited about. Joey says, Nathan, no, it's his wonderful Bill Cosby impression. Marty says, I'm familiar with Nick Fury, not T Fury. Joey says, is that Scott interview on YouTube? It's not. It's on the podcast. I'd have to even go back and dig to find what episode it was. It was early, pretty early. It was probably around 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. Backwit Forever says, I'm interested to see James Gunn's Suicide Squad. If you need an idea on how to do a team right, watch Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay. It's such a great animated movie. I've never seen Hell to Pay. I think I own it, but I haven't seen it yet. Nathan says, Walken and Tim Meadows in the Census sketch Tina Fey wrote was great. Oh my God, the Census sketch is terrific. I love that. How many people live here? Oh, gee, if I had to take a guess, I'd say 80. There's my wife. There's me. We got some plants, a couple of candy bars. Anyway. All right, guys. It is 10 o'clock. We have been doing this for a full hour, and I am going to wrap things up. So, last chance to hear the Super Chat Hippo. Last chance. Anyway. Yeah, we are going to wrap this up here. So, I will see you back here next week. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Beckwin says, I wonder what will happen to the other members from the previous films. Well, some of them are sticking around. Jay Courtney's back as Captain Boomerang. Harley Quinn's coming back. Margot Robbie's going to be back. And they're leaving the door open for Will Smith to come back in a Suicide Squad 3. Because originally Idris Elba was going to be taking the place of Will Smith as Deadshot. But then they changed it to a completely different character because they do want to leave that door open for Will Smith to come back should he choose to do so. Marty says, should they bring back Superman Peanut Butter? Of course they should. Of course they should. I want my Celeste says, thank you, Joe. You make Wednesday night great. Oh, thank you. That's too nice. I get by. I appreciate it, though. I really do. All right, guys. Good night. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I hear the dog freaking out upstairs, so I do need to go get him because if I don't, I got to get him. I got to get him because he's probably driving Christine crazy. Keep wearing those pajamas.